I will say this. I'm sorry to interject, but back to that real quick, the Republican Democrat thing. I have rarely, and you would have to find me an example of where Republicans said, "Hey, I'm just like you. I eat syrup sandwich." They don't ever.
They do it with religion. They do it with religion and
but I feel like they don't. I feel like they don't want to touch it because I feel like they think the Democrats cooking themselves with that because a lot of people believe in their mind because I'm a Democrat. Whether if I'm not black or not, you're gonna agree with me. And I think a lot of people forget that whether if you're a Democrat and you're white, you can't get up there and just say certain things that you relate to a black person because, we're telling you our story or you hear these things. But I wanted to get your opinion. Like, do you think we got to stop sharing that stuff with anybody else that's not black? Because some people are like, hey, did you ever heat up a pot of water on the stove because when the apartment you lived in, the hot water was off for 2 days and you have to boil water and pull it in the tub so you can have a hot bath? Or, hey, the milk is gone. I used water to eat my cereal. Or, hey, I reused this cooking grease on top of the stove for 3-4 days. Now when I'm making pancakes, my pancake tastes like old bacon grease.
Isn't that a combo though? Bacon flavored pancakes.
We'll serve my bacon sometimes.
I like that though. Say, hey, nigga, call me for breakfast because I might be in on that.
But the thing is, hold on. Is there, even now, because we're in a different generation, are there things that you think about, that you grew up, that you did, that if you were to share now, you'd be like, I don't want to share that. Or I feel like if I try to share that with you, you might look at me a certain way, not just from family or friend, but just in general. Do you think black people need to stop sharing all that stuff? Because it is starting to get there. You see some of these, I see kids on social media, some of these white kids are trying to act black and they say some of the stuff. I'm not saying everybody don't go through struggle. I'm not downplaying nobody else's struggle, but some of the stuff I can relate to that you went through. I can relate to that you different. Like, hey, my mom used to burn the back of my head with that goddamn hot comb. Yeah. Like shit. You ain't gonna go through that if you're not black or if you got white hair. You ain't gonna put a hot comb to a white person hair like that.
Man, I'm just seeing them Asians.
Unless
them Asians, they giving themselves afros. I'm like, I be seeing that
dreads.
Shit. No, not even dreads, just afros.
Oh no, I saw the dreads too.
No, I seen that too, but I'm saying I seen a guy, he had a full beard. And he went through like this whole process of like probably permed it and stuff and curled it up and twisted it up. And then after he took all the stuff out, he kind of like picked it out and it looked like your beard.
Oh. Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like,
what the fuck are you
black
doing?
folks doing all this, a lot of black women are doing all this stuff to get straight hair to look like them. And now they doing, but that's separate. But to answer your question, I think if black people stopped sharing our culture with, I'll just say America, because we're in America, I think it'll be a very boring ass place. Yeah. So you think about everything that's cool about America, it has roots in black folks. You look at rock and roll, where the hell that come from? That came from black folks. You look at the style and swag and charisma and stuff, like it starts in just us being us. Like you look at the old school black dudes that, in the music and stuff, is like they got a certain kind of swag and rhythm about the way that they move and the way that they do things. And it progresses through the ages and morphs a little bit. And then it's all it takes is for somebody to see it or to have one experience in the hood and be like, hey, that's cool. Let me
season your food.
Yeah, let me go back. Season your food. Go back home and show my friends what I learned, on my field trip to the hood this one day.
And but what is your response to? I know everybody's seen some of the videos where you see these black girls tell these white girls, you can't have braids in your hair. Take that shit out your hair.
We talked about this before.
I'm like,
yeah, but that's separate because that's like ancient. That's completely ancient thing. People braided their hair all over the world throughout the entire history.
Yeah, we did talk about but that ain't the message that because you see people in the comments, who is this girl trying to, then it'd be.
But at this point, it's obvious what they're doing. Like when white girls and stuff get braids in their hair, they not doing it in ancient styles and stuff. They're doing it the way the black women do it.
But I mean, there's no law on braid. Didn't nobody take the trademark on that? So if your hair can be braided, it can be braided. I mean, they got nothing. My thing is with the whole so-called black struggle and this whole black. It's like after all this time, and this comes from a point of watching it. It's like you still got no identity. You still, as far as black people, you have no fucking clue as to what it is that you really want to be. And I remember something that my old man told me.
That's a blanket statement to make.
What do you mean?
I said it's a pretty blanket statement to make. Like black people in general don't know who they are and what they want to do.
No, he's not talking about black people.
That's what he said.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about black people as far as having an identity. When you're talking about black people and having an identity within the United States, and I'm not talking about the slaves, I'm talking about the generation that came after the slavery, what do we have as an identity? What do we identify with as a group of black people?
But you know,
what are we standing on in terms of the foundation and what our standards are? If we were to consider being in a black neighborhood and our standards for everybody, what is our identity? What do people see us as right now?
That depends on if you give a fuck about what people see you as and what you consider.
But hold on, I'm talking.
It depends on what you consider my identity, because the way I identify myself and my identity as a black person has nothing to do with what anybody else thinks.
Okay, so you wouldn't be considered being part of the black culture there. If you're talking about a black structure, then somehow you would have to identify with the black people in that structure. And you're saying that you don't identify with that, you identify as an individual that just so happens to be black.
But you know what? You know what's funny? Because it makes me, you know what's funny? It makes me think about when you say that. Because I had a friend that went to Africa, and he was explaining how when he went there, he didn't have to try to identify with them. It wasn't that, you know, how you go into an event or, the African Fest and you feel like you kind of, hey, how you doing or whatever. You got to try to express yourself or explain yourself. But in Africa, the motherfuckers don't give a fuck about you. Walk your black ass down the street. Like, oh, you're just another black person or whatever the case may be. But I do see what you're saying. Like here, like what is... I kind of feel like people are trying to be us. That's what I try to. I feel like that's what it is. What people are trying to replicate from us, like got the swag and.
I think it does. As far as I guess you can say like, what does it mean to be black or whatever? I think there is a part of the identity as being in a certain predicament and being able to still survive. And being able to overcome the struggles of living in a terrible neighborhood where you could get shot walking to the store, and where you go to the schools and the books are 30 years old and have not been updated. The computers are 40 years old and still running on Windows Vista. I'm like, you still being able to overcome all of that and still come out the top of your class and still be able to look back and be like, man, I did come from making syrup sandwiches, and now I'm living in, whatever neighborhood. I'm in fucking Lincoln Park or whatever, and this is what my roots are. And I'm able to do that despite all of the things that were against me, whether it be literally against me or my own psychological issues that, have been passed down through generations and stuff, and being able to flip the generational cycles and curses and all of that stuff. Being able to understand, like, hey, I had to work for this. I'm like, I didn't have anybody, any contacts or connections or any benefit because of the neighborhood I grew up in, or because of the shade of my skin, or any of that.
What you're describing right there is an individual struggle that turns into success. So where does the black part fall into that?
Because it's disproportionately more difficult and disproportionately takes, like the old Chris Rock said, black person got to fly to get to a place where, get to a place where a white man can walk to. It's like you can believe and understand that, hey, it doesn't have to be this way, but at the same time, it's like unfortunately that's the world that we are in.
I'm sorry, we only make up 13% of the population in the United States, correct?
It's 14, but
okay, well, 14 compared as to how much is what are the white people at? Just to the question,
I don't know, but I know
it's like 60 something.
Third place now.
No, we're in fourth place now. So it's about 60 some odd percent of white people. So that within itself is a disproportion. I look at this, when I hear black struggle, I hear excuses. Because like I said, it's been 62 years now. 62 years, actually it's been longer than that, but we'll go back to 62 years since the sign of the Civil Rights Act. It's been 62 fucking years. That's just a long time for somebody to say, hey, we still need to get our shit together. That's like having a job for 62 years and not doing absolutely shit on it.